Hello YouTube, knife enthusiasts and valued viewers. This is Byron at Splitting Slices. Welcome back to the Knife and EDC channel, where today is a Tuesday, a two-for Tuesday, August 25th, 2026, and we are going to take a look at two case knives that I recently purchased at the 2026 Case Forged in Freedom Tour event. Now, this was held up in Mackinaw City, Michigan by the Coffman Hardware store. Now, they are a Case dealer and have been putting on an annual event at their store, I believe, since 1993. I believe they're on their second ownership at the store. The second owner has continued the tradition, and we had a fantastic time. Mrs. Slices and I went up for a long weekend, so we visited the island as well. Had some additional fun up on Lake Superior, and went to Sault Ste. Marie. So a great time was had by all, but I thought before we took a look at the two knives that I recently purchased, I'd show you some of the swag that I got at the event. And Case does a pretty good job, along with co-sponsorship from each dealer, of providing fun swag, right? Gifts that you can take home, things like a license plate case. This one is red, white, and blue, says Forged in Freedom, and the Case XX logo. You got a pen, you got a hat pin that you can pin on to your cap, and there's usually one for each event every year. And then you get some things like pens, stickers, and such. So I want to thank Case and the dealers who sponsor these events to provide each and every customer that comes in usually a gift bag of some sort with some kind of swag items. It's a great way to show your appreciation, and as a customer, I do appreciate it. Now, some other things that were very cool that I don't see a lot of is the hardware store. Now, I don't know if Case has recently come out with these, but they had a set of old-time vintage postcards that you could purchase about Case and the history of Case. Now, here is the original portrait of the Case brothers that started the company. And then they've got a picture of their old marketing wagon that they used to take to other events. All right. Here is a picture of Tony Bose with one of his, I believe that is the Panama Trapper, one of his designs. All right, and just some very cool postcards that have got vintage pictures of factory workers, designers, factories, different carriages, salesmen, activities, just a really cool vintage shots of the Case history. So I picked up a few of those. I'm probably going to make collage here for the wall where I have some other historical references of knife companies over the last 150 years or so, and it was just a good time. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead, pause the video, clear the table, and we're going to take a look at the two knives that we're going to show today. Stay tuned. All right, so today's video is just going to be an unboxing of these two knives that I recently purchased at Coffman Hardware. One of them was one of the event knives for the event. Now, there are several different models that Case will usually make for event knives throughout the year, and I think it's up to each individual dealer to choose which knife they would like to offer, or if they would like to offer multiple knives, and then I believe costs are more or less shared between both Case and the dealer. So the event knife that we're going to take a look at first is this one right here. Let's go ahead and check a look at the tag. So we have number 11335. This is the 2026 event knife. It is a smooth natural bone canoe. And the model number on this would be 62131 SS, standing for stainless steel. It was manufactured back in late April of this year, and the work order number for this was 95957. All right, that's enough of that. Comes in a standard case when you get a knife that is made for stainless steel right now. It is the black case with the gold lettering. The company's information right here. Let's go ahead and open this up. Comes in the event knife case, which is usually a felt lined outside and inside magnetic case. There's the paperwork that's shot out, so you always get your product quality information. We've got a case sticker, and here is the event knife. Now I only have 2 or 3 canoes in the collection, so I thought I'd go ahead and pick this one up to add it to the other canoes that I have. Well, we got a little bit of fingerprints here. Let me see if I can go ahead and wipe those off real quick. Try to make this a little more presentable there for the camera. So there we go. Looks like I still got a smudge on this one side, but there is the event knife. So this is the Forged in Freedom Eagle, and it is in a gold, let's call it a Cerakote etching or a Cerakote covering on this Natural Smooth Bone handles. We also have the case logo on one end of the bolster, and then if you see, we have USA on the other end. Looks like a 3 brass pin construction holding those smooth bone covers on the knife. Let's go ahead and turn it over, and you can see this side, and it's really nice colored ivory almost color with a little bit of gold lines or grain running through that bone, so it looks really nice. Nickel silver bolsters on this canoe. All right, and of course, canoe has 2 blades. You have a main, usually spear point blade, and there it is there with a nail nick, and you can see the laser etching of Coffman Hardware. So let's go ahead and open this up, and we'll take a look at it. Now, there is also the model number for the knife. It says, well, this side, it says USA 250. I don't know if you can read that or my camera's picking that up, but so this was celebrating the 250 years of the country in 2026. We have the Coffman Hardware etched on this side of the blade. And then on the back of the tank stamp, it says USA and then the model number, which is 62131. 6 being bone covers, 2 being 2-bladed knife, and then the model number 131. All right, and SS for stainless steel blades. So there is our main spear point blade. And let's go ahead and open up the pen blade on the other side. Now, case, of course, the nail nicks are on opposite sides on their knives. Big fingerprint magnet. These are mirror polished, finished stainless steel blades. Sorry for the fingerprints, folks. But there is one of this year's event knives for many of the Forged in Freedom events. It is the Smooth Bone Canoe. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close that up. We'll put that back in, and let's take a look at the second knife. Now, the second knife is really the reason that I wanted to go up, not only to visit Mackinac Island, which I'd never done before, and Mrs. Slices had never been up there, but this was the knife that I was after. And I was actually after last year's knife. They had one a month ago, and they've sold out. But I was also able to get this event knife. Now, this event is a local event knife. And before we open that up, let me go ahead and close that. Let's go ahead and look at the label on the back. So here is the label, and let's turn it over on this one. This is number 25572. And it is the Black Sycamore Wood Smooth Copperhead. And the pattern number is 7148SS. Okay? Now, while this is a Copperhead, this is also an event knife, but it is a special local event knife that is done each year by Coffman Hardware to celebrate their local tradition of closing the Mackinac Bridge for several hours in the morning every Labor Day of the year. So every September, the first Monday in September, Labor Day, they close the Mackinac Bridge for 3 hours, and you can walk over the Mackinac Bridge and then take the ferry boats back over to the original side, or you can arrange bus transportation. But every year, Coffman Hardware does an bridge crossing event knife. Now, this was the event knife for 2021. It is a case copperlock, and again, it's in that black sycamore covers. You can see they have the traditional hot dog style case shield. And let's go ahead and open up this knife. Now, this is a single bladed knife, clip point blade, and we got quite a bit of smudges here. Let me go ahead and wipe this off, and I'll see if we can pick up the writing with my light. It may blur it out. But basically this says Mackinac Bridge Walk 2021, and a picture of the bridge etched in laser on this clip point blade. More of a California clip style. You have the case XX shield, and you've got a 9-dot pattern. So we know that it was for 2021. Now, I purchased this event knife because I think this is the Mackinac bridge crossing event that never took place. I believe it was canceled due to COVID. So, for years and years, it has been an annual tradition to walk the bridge, which is approximately a 5-mile walk across Lake Michigan and Lake Huron's Mackinac Bridge, and you could purchase an event knife for the event. Unfortunately, this year, the event never took place. So this is an event knife that never was, so to speak, but I have a sample of it. All right, oh, now there's some more smudges there on that copperlock bolster. But look at the grain and coloring structure on that sycamore wood. Very cool. Brass liners, nickel silver bolsters, brass pins, 3-pin construction holding those sycamore covers on the knife, and then the hot dog shield that says case. So this was the 2021 Mackinac Bridge Crossing event knife for an event that I don't think ever took place. It is scheduled for this year. This year's event knife from the hardware store is a beautiful blue jigged bone Barlow, 2 blades, so you have a pen blade and the main clip, and it's really a stunning looking knife. It's very close to the Mediterranean blue bone that came out several years ago. Very close to that coloring and that pattern shape. So if this is something you're interested in, you'll either need to make a trip to Coffman Hardware and purchase the event knife before they're sold out, or maybe if there's a few left next year, you could meet us up for the 2027 case event, and maybe we'll get lucky and be able to purchase a couple of those Barlows. But this is the last remaining 2021 event knife. I think I purchased the last one from the store, and I am so glad that I did. It is a very unique cover material, cover look, and I'm glad I was able to pick it up. So those are the 2 knives that I picked up at the event, and I appreciate you tuning in and listening to my talk on case knives. That's going to do it for me today. Byron at Splitting Slices saying, please split a slice with a friend soon. Hopefully you can also make a case tour event this year. I will leave a description link in my video here when I post it, and you can check out the remaining events for this year's 2026 tour at your convenience. That's it, folks. Until my next video, everybody, please take care.